All right. So, hey everybody. Jamie Starr here. New World News Network. You know how we do. We are currently waiting for Paul. So, we're going to hopefully he'll show up, pop in. I know he's having some technical difficulties here. I think it will work. Try. So yeah, we're just waiting for Paul, seeing if he will pop on and be joining us. Which I mean, hopefully, because I didn't really prepare much to talk about. I mean, I know there are things going on. Or we just drop and reconnect. All right, someone's watching on Facebook, Periscope. Good game. Yeah, for anyone on any of the gaming platforms, this restream thing is kind of iffy at times where like it won't let me change in the thing. So if it says I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11, I'm sorry, but that's not what this stream is right now. Hopefully everyone can hear me as well. If I can't, someone in the chat want to let me know. And yeah, I don't know what Paul wants to talk about. I know the other night he wanted to podcast and rant and go on about people and just how people within society are changing. One of the things I want to do a comprehensive video on, because I haven't really seen anyone do it, is this undoubtable, unquestionable, just full speed drop going down the slippery slope where basically there are people who, under the guise of LGBTQAIP plus 2AB, they want to fuck your kids. That's the simplest way to put it, is they're coming to fuck your kids. And it's one of those things where I have some comments. As far as I saw Hunter Avalon do a good video about this Jessica Yaniv character. It's basically this fucking dude who has, shut down some waxing salon or whatever for wanting to do a Brazilian wax. If you're watching this channel, I guarantee you've heard of this person already. But the thing that everyone is overlooking, because again, they don't know, how to put this. I guess, and it's like I don't even know how to put this without sounding like incriminating upon myself, I guess, in some ways, because even like they say with like police officers, like there's a fine line between the mind of someone who can stop a crime and the mind of someone who can commit it. Because if you understand how to do it in order to prevent it, well, then you obviously know how to use the tools to. You get what I'm saying, right? So, everyone's looking at. Because now we have more outright, Now we have more outright examples of this Yaniv character. Hold on, let me see what Paul's saying. Oh my god, what the fuck? This is what happens when you keep your phone on low battery mode and it shuts off half your stuff. So, when you, alright. So, Yaniv, right? Everyone's looking at the incidents that have come forth with their tweets about, girls and tampons and how old is a girl that I ask and this, that. Like, we have these dialogues now to see. And they think Hunter Avalon and others I've seen put forth and posit the idea basically that Yaniv has Jessica, whatever their real name is, has a thing for girls' sanitation products because they are asking young girls about You know, oh, if I see a girl, how do I ask them for a pad? How do I ask them for this? Blah, blah, blah. First of all, you have a dick, so you shouldn't. That's you know, number one. And you really don't need to expand upon it besides that. If you have a dick, you don't need a tampon. End of story, right? But when you see the way these conversations then follow through, it then goes to Yaniv being like, you're so pretty, if only you were older, this, and that. This is a grooming tactic. That's all this is. Yaniv doesn't give a shit about periods or anything like that. They're trying to fuck these little girls. The talk about periods and all of that nonsense is the segue. It's the icebreaker that allows this grown ass dude wearing a dress to talk to these girls about what's going on in their pants. That's all it is. It's a grooming tactic. And the fact that I have not seen. Alright, Paul's totally fucked. Wanna just join in. The fact that no one seems to pick up on that, I mean, I guess it's God bless them for, you know, being naive enough to not see that. But it's like, you read these stories where it's like, you know, the grown men to other men, like it would be talking about masturbating. Oh, do you ever look at dirty magazines? Do you ever. Owen Benjamin talks about this, for example. He talks about how in his small town there was a pervert. Everyone knew he was a pervert. You show the kids porn. I'm watching Keep Trying. You show the kids porn. You sort of like, I mean, you can't be a 27-year-old. Well, you can't, period. Again, I have to keep giving these caveats, which I hate, because I really don't want someone just seeing a section of this and taking some, you know, context, incriminating context out of it. But it's like, you know, as much as you shouldn't do it in the first place and all that, you can't be a 27-year-old dude in a dress and just walk up to a girl and be like, hey, little girl, I want to diddle your clit. Doesn't work like that. But if you're like, oh, I'm becoming a woman, I don't know about womanly things, you know, what's the right age to ask about this? And it's almost like in their warped head, they have this scenario where they're coming into their womanhood the same way a 13, 14-year-old girl is coming into theirs. So that's why I'm telling you, they don't give a shit about periods, tampons, pads, or any of that stuff. That is the grooming predator way to segue the conversation into, hey, little girl, what's going on in your pants? That's what's going on with that character. I guarantee you, if you dig enough, you're going to find someone that this person has been inappropriate with, because they're trying to set up all ages, all bodies, no parents allowed, no supervision, fucking get naked around. I mean, they're trying to arrange pedo parties in the middle of Canada. Of course, Canada. Now, you also had, and I saw Roaming Millennial did a video on this. You had some pedophile special on not Netflix, Amazon Prime or something. I haven't checked it out. I don't know if I plan to. I think I'm kind of just going to take her word on what it is. And but you basically have the pedophile apologist stuff going on. You had Desmond is Amazing, that whole situation going on. I mean, there is just a outright push to wanting to bang kids lately, and it is despicable and just unimaginable. You also, in the under the umbrella of pedophiles and such, Jeffrey Epstein, I saw, was there was a possible suicide attempt on him this week. He was found in his jail cell, I guess, you know, her injured. Now, I saw Michael Knowles did a great video discussing the three possibilities of what could have happened here. Let me see if I can actually just. Oh, my bad. Insert image. Just gonna try to switch up this, so you had Jeffrey Epstein this week end up being found in his jail cell, injured as if he had possibly committed suicide, or if someone possibly suicided him, or, and people are now speculating what went on in this scenario. Was it a rich and powerful person trying to silence Epstein so he can't blow the whistle on, everything else that has been going on and possibly incriminating them? Was it Jeffrey Epstein doing this to himself to try to, say, push for lower sentencing or better accommodations? Because from what I've heard, the jail he is in New York, especially the wing he is on, is like a it's like Guantanamo in the US, basically. Like, it was where El Chapo was kept, and it is supposedly the worst of the worst facilities. So was Epstein really trying to kill himself? Maybe, some sort of insanity defense, but you can't be like, oh, I've been a serial fucking pedophile with a private island. That's not a crime of insanity. That's a crime of highly organized, fashion. Lots of money, lots of resources. Crazy person could not have arranged the things Epstein has arranged. So, that has also gone on the whole pedophile front. But it's like, Paul, when I was speaking to him the other night, he says it's here. I wouldn't say it's here yet, but I mean, it is bubbling right below the surface. Like, I think by this time next year, we might be having marches in the streets for pedophile rights. Now, one of the interesting things, and I'm going to butcher this, but Roaming Millennials video talking about the documentary, they mention in it, the documentary, that pedophiles are more likely to be left-handed, they're more likely to be shorter than the average population. There's like a few other markers, but the other thing this documentary puts forth is they basically can't be rehabilitated. So, what are we supposed to do with these people? And, the idea of there being a virtuous pedophile just because they haven't molested any kids, I mean, that should be your starting point, basically. Like, that's not something that deserves a congratulations, basically, that should just be the standard for everyone, that you don't fuck with kids. But with these people, because they deeply desire to, they want a pat on the back for not doing it, which really shows, it really shows a dark aspect of their mind. Like, there's almost like, in order to think you need a congratulations for not fucking with someone else's kid, there's almost like a underlying sense of entitlement that you feel as if you deserve to be. So, from there, I think that can segue me into talking about issues I've been having at work, which one of my jobs, I work in a mental health field. And, the sad thing about it is that, first of all, we're under this structure of peers. Now, I know a lot about, mental health, the way it all started. People have said the psychiatric industry is basically the world's biggest psyop, which I happen to agree with that. Because, we have this, so there's this term peer, that we're peers, and, we're supposed to learn from each other. Now, this mental health umbrella encompasses substance abuse, and then all of your, depression, autism, and everything else, so on, and bipolar, so on and so forth. The situations that end up arising more so, though, are like someone like me who I guess you could say I've had a history of substance abuse. I mean, I've never had to go to rehab. I am in a opiate maintenance program, so there are things I am aware of as far as within this stuff. But more often than not, I am encountering or dealing with people who, to be politically correct, fall under the developmentally disabled category. And there is a world of difference between someone who had a couple years doing heroin and Oxycontin and all of that, and now is sort of, put that all behind them and is just pop a pill in the morning and you're good to go and everything's fine, compared to someone who mentally isn't functioning at full capacity. Like, I don't like bringing it up too often, only because I don't have any hardline, details on it. A friend of mine's mom is a therapist, or in one of those therapy. I'm not sure if it's a psychiatrist or psychologist, but we'll just say therapist. And she's capable of doing like sort of on the fly IQ analyses. So, and she's known me for years, and she's seen my Facebook post where I'll be talking about politics, and she said, Jamie, in a linguistic verbal level, you're so good and like above genius that you could convince people of the complete opposite politics of their own. Like, I'm capable of convincing liberals that the Saint Obama is a monster. And this woman, I thought was very impressive, and it told me this, and it's like, okay, cool. So I have someone who actually knows a thing or two about this, saying I happen to be highly intelligent in a verbal linguistic sense. Nice little pat on the back. What you can do with that, fuck if I know. That's, why when I hear people like Owen Benjamin and other people say, if you're high IQ, high functioning, it's a sad, lonely life because you're surrounded by idiots half the time. That's part of why I've had issue with, Stefan Molyneux making it seem like IQ is everything and that's the golden path through life, because a lot of times it really is more alienating than anything else. So now, all that being said, imagine I'm in a situation where I am at the higher level of functioning and I am a peer to someone who doesn't even have full capacity at a normal basis, someone who doesn't have any self-awareness. So I continually end up where it's like people who will be like, well, I was talking to my Aunt Karen, but then she pissed me off, so I told her to go fuck herself, but so she doesn't talk to me anymore, but I'm so lonely. And then I was talking to my next door neighbor, and he gave me a dirty look, so I told him to go fuck himself and never speak to me again. But I'm so lonely. And then my friend John called me up, and I said, John, I'm sick of hearing your bullshit. Don't ever fucking talk to me again. But I'm so lonely. And then, my other friend called me up, and they told me about a problem they had, and I was like, ain't nobody got time for your problems. You're so full of shit. I don't want to fucking hear from you. Go fuck off. But I'm so lonely. And I'm just sitting there being like, what the fuck? What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Because there's no capacity for self-awareness. And this is like, you would think I'm talking about one instance, but here's another example, and I'll go back to the one I was just talking about. Other woman, hypochondriac, completely. She called up the phone line, I think I have cancer. I think I have Hashimoto's. I think I have this. The doctors say I don't, but I told them, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. I know everything. Yeah, I didn't go to school for this. Yeah, I don't have the degrees, but I did a Google search. So Google tells me I am chronically dying of everything. And no one wants to talk to me. No one wants to listen to me. My daughter, she used to call me up every morning and just want to complain about the things in her life. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with it because it's just too much. Mind you, this woman is calling my job every morning, not just to complain about the things in her life, but complaining about the problems she's imagined she has in her life. And if I wasn't there being paid, and being told you gotta conduct yourself in this way, you gotta conduct yourself in that way, you just go to these people and be like, what about what you're doing? Have you looked in the mirror? What about your actions? I mean, the other people, like I was saying, fuck my aunt, fuck my friends, fuck my neighbors, but I'm so lonely. Like, it's one of those situations where if it was anyone else, you would go to them and you would just say, well, if you're having the same problem with literally everyone you are meeting, from your friends to the cab company to the this to the that, chances are it's you and not them. But you can't even get that far, because then you will be the one getting the barrage. For example, the other night, guy calls, same guy, fuck everyone, but I'm so lonely bullshit. And he's telling me about argument he got into with his cab driver. So, his cab driver, they're at a light, they're going to make a turn, or they're going to go straight, and the light turns yellow. So the cab driver figures, all right, well, it'd be quicker. I can just make a left-hand turn real quick and be on about our way at everything. Well, this guy decides that was too short notice. That was a decision made too short notice, and that was dangerous. It's dangerous to quickly do things, which, I mean, I guess if you don't function at full capacity, it probably is. But the guy driving the car is a everyday taxi driver, doesn't have any mental health problems that I'm aware of. So the guy in the car blows up on him. Why'd you do that? Why'd you turn left? He said, well, I didn't feel like waiting. Yeah, but that was dangerous. We could have. And now he's arguing with this guy for 3 days about it. The cops have gotten involved. Do you hear what I'm saying? The cops were called into an argument that has gone on over 3 days about a guy making a left-hand turn on a yellow light. No laws were broken. No accident happened. Nothing illegal going on. But this guy just decided, that shouldn't have been done. And it's him against the world. So he's going to start a fight with the cab driver over it. So I very calmly am just not even trying to tell him he's wrong in feeling the way he does. So I tell this guy, do you drive? No, I don't drive. Yeah, I don't drive either. I'm in the same boat as you. Again, trying to ease into the conversation. I don't drive either. I'm in the same boat as you. But can you understand when you don't drive and you have to rely on someone for these services, and then to go to someone who drives professionally? This is what they do all day long. And now you're arguing with them for 3 days over what could have happened. Not what did happen, what could have happened. Who has time for that? Who wants to be bothered with that? So immediately upon me just interjecting the possibility of seeing things from the other side, I get the barrage. They start screaming at me. So the one thing about my job is I don't have to deal with that. I'm not there to be someone's emotional punching bag. So I hang up. So then, of course, the guy calls me back. You're a real bastard for hanging up on me. Click. That was the pettiness of it. I mean, let me tell you, I this week have seriously started to have my mind changed in terms of eugenics. Like, I really think that there are people out there who should not be allowed to procreate. I mean, I see cases where it is, again, people who have no grasp of compassion for others, no grasp of whatever else, and now, why I'm tying this into a political thing, this isn't just a rant about work, because the underlying problems that most of these people have, whether they're functioning at full capacity or, developmentally disabled or whatever, there's a level of entitlement and a lack of self-awareness that is leaps and bounds. Like, you just I can't even understand it. Like, going through life with a complete disregard for the feelings of others, and just feeling as if you are constantly owed things, constantly entitled to things, that just you voicing your voice should part the seas, and that, the world should move on your will. So, another scenario, for example, we had a guest we had, stayed at the house frequently or whatever. She goes to two of my coworkers and explains that she has a crush on me and that she's thinking about asking me out. So at first, my one coworker tells me this, and me being me, I just sort of dismiss it. I'm like, whatever. I'm more apt to be playing video games with this woman's son than, even entertaining anything with it. Like, no, you can, no. So then she tells the other coworker. So then I'm getting kind of worried because this woman is in a real bad state. I mean, we're talking like real bad state. So we're talking, panhandling to feed her son. When I know she has benefits, I know she could get food stamped. There's just a inability to manage things. This woman is just, one of my coworkers said, gallivanting around town. I mean, she will go to a concert, not have a ride home from the concert, and then go to our local stabilization center, which I call the crisis center. I mean, that's how bad the mental health issues in this area are. It's like you see the you see the videos of like downtown LA and things like that. We don't have, let me how to put this right. We have a homelessness problem. We are just better equipped to deal with the homelessness problem, so we don't have tent cities and stuff like that. But the mental health problem in this area, because we used to have one of the state's largest mental health facilities, then they decided to close it. Then they decided that all of these people could be integrated into the community. No, not at all. That's why you have people who, when they don't have a ride home, they're showing up at mental health facilities needing to be stabilized. Like, it's just mind-boggling, and a mind-boggling waste of resources and everyone's time and everything like that. So this woman doesn't know what's going on half the time, and her only concern is for her own, enjoyment and fulfillment. And I mean, God help her son. Her son is, at some points, her son was having to take care of her. She says her 16-year-old son should get a job to support her 55-year-old ass, whose concerns are art galleries and, expressing herself and concerts and, like, I mean, it's a 50-year-old woman with the mind of a 15-year-old, and meanwhile her son isn't even allowed to go out and go to a concert or enjoy himself because he has to manage his mother. Sad scenario. Everyone told her she shouldn't have this kid. I'm not even, you guys, if you're watching, you know my stance. I'm against abortion through and through. But what could you put in place? Like, anyone who knows this woman knows from the jump she shouldn't have had a kid. Now she's got a kid, CPS is breathing down her neck, and she's more concerned with that she can't stay for a stay at the residency I work at because she went running her mouth to my coworkers about her romantic feelings about me. So, coworkers bring up the romantic feeling stuff. I go to my boss and I say, hey, this is what I'm hearing. I don't like this. It makes me nervous. What should we do about this? So my boss decides. Now, I didn't expect this. I didn't want this to be the thing. I thought she was just going to give me advice on how to handle and navigate it. She then throws up the Iron Curtain. She says, don't answer her calls. She can't stay at the house. It just is what it is. Like, she's not able to come because she has boundary issues, and if she has them and can't understand them, we're going to throw up the Iron Curtain. Now, this was 2 months ago. 2 months ago that all this was decided and everything. This woman is so scattered that after she has been told this multiple times throughout the 2 months, it has finally hit her. Can't stay anymore. Now, the place I work at, it's mental health respite. People can stay 5 days, and then 30 days later, they could stay another 5 days. It's billed to their insurance, whatever. This woman generally just stays a night. She generally just shows up to do her laundry because, again, she can't manage feeding her son. She can't manage her money for laundry, so All she can handle is where's the next concert. So, of all that going on, and it's finally but when she's told that she can't stay because you're considering asking out, whatever, well, she then thinks it's a lie. Someone is spreading a lie about her, that she already did ask out one of the workers there, and we're besmirching her name and her reputation. Mind you, this is a woman that last time she came and stayed with us asked one of the female employees if they had an extra pair of panties because she had been wearing a bathing suit bottom as underwear for a week or whatever. This is a woman that, thinks that people with depression should have hospital staff wash their asses as if there was anything more depressing. So, she was stuck in a hospital and wasn't allowed to be released for not bathing. And she thinks that we're gossiping or, besmirching her name or anything like that. I mean, this whole situation is really fucking sad. Really fucking sad. But even when being told, you said this is why we don't deem it's appropriate, so this is the cards you've been dealt. So now she's running around from facility to facility to facility to facility, telling everyone about this. Mind you, her complaint is people are spreading rumors about her. No one's talking about her in this situation, though, but her. Because, again, we were all told the deal 2 months ago. Lack of self-awareness. Again. So finally, she calls up the house the other night. She talks to my coworker and says, "Can you believe people are spreading rumors about me? They're saying that I went to ask out one of the employees and that's why I'm not allowed back, this, and that." So my coworker says to the woman, "No, what happened was you told me you were going to ask out one of the employees and I told the supervisors because I'm going to protect Jamie." Like, let me tell you, the greatest perk about this job is because my site didn't have a site director, that the staff is basically like family. So we all look out for each other. The one thing I hate most of all is people playing good cop, bad cop. So immediately my coworker came out and said, "I'm going to guard Jamie. I'm going to look out for Jamie. I'm going to, make sure, he's all right and safeguarded." So I told the supervisors, and you told another coworker you had this plan. This is a response to your actions. This is not a rumor. This is the reality of the situation. Well, you know what it turned into then? It turned into this woman saying that this started because I hit on her. Okay. So now it looks like that's what I might have to deal with, because this woman thinks that she can just complain to the right person. She said, "I'm going to have to talk to the supervisor." She doesn't realize, as I said earlier, I didn't expect her to be, banned or anything like that. I thought my boss, if she only stays for a night or two, they would just schedule it on days when I'm not there. She thinks if she just complains to the right person, this will all be undone. And now the new lie, and this is the thing, is now this is going to be her spreading a rumor. Her spreading a rumor that I hit on her. And that's why she, I guess, started to have feelings for me or whatever. Insane. Insane. Completely insane. I mean, first off, the idea that let me put it to you like this. I have such an aversion to older women for whatever reason. I mean, maybe I just don't have mommy issues. Like, that could be it. But I mean, I once stayed at a coworker's house, which I thought she just wanted to be friends and, hang out there. I was, I don't know, maybe 19, 20, maybe 21 at the time. I don't think I was 21 actually, because I think she bought me beer. But I went and stay at this coworker's house, and I mean, I'm 20 something years old. She had just turned like 30 or 31. And she's trying her damnedest to get me up, and it's not going up because, I don't know, I just don't really have a thing for women 10 plus years older than me. This woman, 20 something years plus older than me. What? No. So I'm just hoping hoping at this level, at this, rate, that it isn't the whole situation isn't switched around on me, because I feel like because of, HR and all that other nonsense, if someone lodges a complaint that one of the staff is hitting on one of the guests, I imagine they'll have to look into it. Now, thankfully, I do have a couple trump cards in my back pocket as far as my relationship that I am in and all of that stuff. So I think if they try approaching me with that, I have a couple defenses that they're just going to be like, oh, well. And I mean, the other thing is, I feel bad for this woman. I really feel bad, because the reality of the situation is I'm looking to leave this job. I'm starting a third job this week so I can segue from the one to the other. So it's like, this woman, if she wasn't digging herself this hole, going around telling everyone about the situation, complaining about it, making it worse, and all that, but it's a lack of self-awareness. And the reason why I'm going on this whole tear about work is it ties into the sort of colloquialism, liberalism is a mental disorder, where it's like, even in mainstream liberalism, like, I see the same sort of, this woman's entitlement to the resources that my job offers and makes available is really no different to the mainstream liberal entitlement to healthcare as a human right and things like that. I mean, this woman, her victimhood complex, like, because as a kid she was institutionalized, so therefore she thinks anyone who ever stayed at a psych center and had a bad interaction, the girl who wrote the book, Girl Interrupted, all that, well, they should go shut the fuck up because they haven't been through what she's been through. Everyone else's feelings are null and voided, and this woman's feelings are the only ones that matter. And it's like, it just makes me, when I see these traits in people who aren't functioning at full capacity, but are so ardent and headstrong in these mentalities, and then you see the same exact thing in sort of college-aged, college graduates, that just sort of focus it more towards the political, but it still is the same mentality in either way. The lack of self-awareness, where they could be like, we need peace and love and coming together and fucking kill these Nazis, punch them in the face. And it's like, wait, peace and love, like, kill the Nazis? Like, how the disconnect, and or it's like, the entitlement of, I deserve this, I want this, I need to complain to this, and then give me, give me, give me, give me. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And like I said, some of these people, the idea that they were allowed to procreate and things like that, you just wonder. I mean, if anything, it's really made the case for me that these mental hospitals should be reopened. My mom, who's worked in this field for a while, says that she thinks that it's going to come back and it's going to be structured that way, because this shit is just no good. And instead of people having one place that manages every aspect of their life, they have then created this system where everything is highly fragmented. You don't know what one end is prescribing to the next one is prescribing to the other person, and everyone only has half a clue of the situation. Like, everyone is looking at this one woman and her kid being like, how has this been allowed to go on this long? But it's because everyone only has half a clue about everything. So it just continues and continues and continues, and you now have this kid who, I mean, I hope that someday he'll be able to have a successful relationship with a woman, but it doesn't seem likely at this rate with the hell that his mother has put him through. Ah, apple cider yummy. So, let's see. That was my work, liberal, mental health, whatever. Actually, here's a funny story actually about another guy. So, there's this other guy there, Now, when I first came in, one of my coworkers there, there's a handful of female coworkers, and the one actually I'm friends with on Facebook, so who knows, maybe she'll end up seeing this. But so she kind of big me ups to this guy who's like, oh, whenever Jamie comes in, I'm always late getting home because we'll just start talking and getting going about something. And this guy is older man, gray hair, kind of gay guy. He's like, oh, interesting, you know. So of course he's looking at me being like, oh, good looking, young, intelligent man, whatever, whatever. And it's like, all right. So then, friend of mine is working and they have the news on or something, and something about climate change goes on. So this guy just immediately goes off the rails with the virtue signaling. Can you believe the world's gonna end in 12 years and they are the Republicans aren't doing anything? And all of that nonsense. So my friend immediately hits me up and is like, hey, just so you know, we got a elderly social justice warrior here. Just, you know, be careful with what you say. And I'm like, oh, okay. Good to know. So anyway, I ended up not even having to work with the guy again because he now I'll just say right here, I don't know what his actual, you know, mental health condition is, because like I said in the beginning, this term mental health includes everything. I mean, if you were to go with the definition that we function under, mental illness is emotions. And it's that simple. Your emotions are a mental illness. Like, it's very Brave New World-ish, where it's like the only way to not have a mental illness is to be just numb to everything. And I'm sure they would even consider that a mental illness, but that's what half the pills they prescribe these people are ultimately trying to achieve. So anyway, our site is within an apartment in a other low income housing type temporary something or other. So the people we rent this place from call up and say, hey, we smell weed. You guys have someone up there smoking? So my friend's like, I don't know, I'll check it out. Now the funny thing is I'm talking to one of their other people later after the fact about this, and she even said, and this shows you how you know, New York is very much coming around to the whole weed thing. It's really the last liberal bastion that hasn't. But the woman says, Jamaican woman, she's like, I don't care if you smoke, just go by the dumpster. Don't do it in the building. Just take it away and, you know, just go down the street. Walk around the corner and do it. And I'm just like, word, yeah. Why is that such a, you know, such a problem? Just fucking go, like, she basically said, walk 50 feet that away and you won't have a problem. That's too much for some of these people. Too much for some of their entitlement. Especially their liberal, super pro marijuana, it's my everything, you know, whatever, whatever. So when this guy gets approached, he's, you know, again, my friend, I know exactly how he did this. Hey, you know, we got a call, so I just gotta ask because, you know, the call, this, you weren't by chance smoking any pot in your room, were you? Well, the guy immediately goes, well, I mean, I have it and I smoke it, but I wasn't smoking it in the room. Well, you know, they said there was a smell about it and you can't have it here and this, and the guy just off the rails starts screaming and yelling and, well, you know, I tell all my therapists and I tell the people, and I mean, this guy's basic defense for violating the rules that he agreed to is, I prescribe myself marijuana because it's what helps keep me level. Meanwhile, this guy is off the fucking chain, so if it was him smoking, it's not working. But just basically saying, I've decided that I need this. I tell everyone else this is the fucking deal. So if you're not going to abide by the rules I've laid out for myself, I'm out of here. And it's like, all right, well, you're going to be out of here anyway. But again, just the level of entitlement towards something that in reality in New York is still illegal. You can't just go anywhere and light up. Like, I mean, a lot of cops are at using their discretion when it comes to it. A lot of the cops view it as we have bigger fish to fry. Heroin is a huge issue. Illegal guns are a big issue. There are bigger fish to fry. That's how a lot of the cops see this. But it is still illegal. I mean, so it's like, it is like, you wouldn't just walk into somewhere and be like, well, I do heroin, and because I do heroin, I'm going to do heroin where I go. And if you have a problem with me doing heroin, well, then that's your problem, buddy, because heroin is what we do around here. I mean, it's like insane, but it is that level of entitlement, that level of I control everything around me. I call this uh delusions of authority. It's like delusions of grandeur, but it's delusions of authority. And it runs especially deep in older liberals. Where, I have a neighbor, for example, older guy, you'd see him, you'd think he's a hippie. You'd think he doesn't give a shit about anything and that he's just sort of go with the flow and this, and that. Oh, but if there's a child making any noise outside his window at past 8 a.m. at night, he's calling the goddamn cops. I mean, what did he call my nieces and nephews? Half-breed nigger babies? It's like, listen, you fuck. If there was anyone that can call them that, it's me. And I would never. So, I was ready to go to war with him. Because I will kill people over those children. And that's just the reality of the situation. But, seriously, I mean, delusions of authority. Like, this guy at one point, some guy was walking past his house on his cell phone talking too loud, and this guy decided to chase him down the road barefoot with a baseball bat, hiding behind trees, calling the cops because he wanted the cops to deal with him as if he did something wrong. And instead the cops come to him and they're like, what the fuck are you doing walking around barefoot stalking a guy with a baseball bat, you fucking freak? But it's that entitlement. It's that delusions of authority. It's that, I mean, it's ingrained in the liberalism. It is ingrained in it at this point. Where it's like, people say, oh, liberal, it's about being free to do. No, liberalism at this point is about authoritarianism. It's about, I decide who can say what. I decide who can speak about what. I decide what reality is. We thought we had detention centers at the border. We thought we were just interning the migrants. Oh, no, they are concentration torture facilities, according to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, there is a warping of perception in the minds of these people, and it's like, God, if I was president, let me tell you, there would be mental health facilities set up based on the way people vote. I would just put it out. I would con them all. I'd be like, we're going to try direct democracy. So I've put out a thing of a couple party platform positions, and you guys can vote on them. And, have things like re-education camps and, all this other wild leftist shit on there. And anyone who votes for it and thinks that any of it could be rationalized, we're just going to lock them away. Or we'll just, give them California and then cut off California from the rest of the country and leave it at that. So, now that I'm done ranting about all my liberalism is a mental fucking illness shit, what else is there to talk about? I know. See, I kind of know some of the stuff Paul wants to talk about with his friend and how guys are being really fucking warped and how people don't know how to socialize and everything like that. But I feel like that would best be for a time when he's here and his equipment is working. I did see that Trump was able to secure funding for the border wall. That's good. I suppose I can hop on Drudge and, since we don't have Messenger going. Paul, if you're watching, use the chat on something because I just closed out a Messenger. Drudge Report. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, president told a lawmaker that his fucking district is dirty, and of course that means Trump spoke bad about a black man. Oh. Let's see. Trump, Baltimore, wrote an infested mess. Yeah. Blindfolded American team rocks Rome cop killer case. Apple contractors regularly hear confidential details on Surrey recordings. Yeah, we should have known that. Marine Dowd. Progressives are the moral Puritans. Well, that is true. CBS News hires Univision anchor after Hispanic group threatens boycott. I'll tell you. A lot of this boycotting bullshit is nonsense. Should the rich be allowed to buy the best jeans? Well, it's gonna happen. Despite calls to start over, U.S. healthcare system covers 90%. Yeah, well, that is true. Government survey shows that about 90% of the population has coverage, largely preserving gains from Obama's things. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, these Democrats really have nothing to cover. That's why they are out there saying, health care for illegal immigrants and all that. Because what can they offer the American people? I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it short here today, and if Paul can fix his equipment, I'll hop back on. I have a lot of shit to do around the house today, though, because like I said, I'm starting a third job this week as I transition into the two other ones and out of this mental health one because I can't take it anymore. Because here's the other thing. This was my main point in talking about a lot of this stuff, is that it's good to give people a place to blow off some steam and someone to vent to and everything like that. And there's some people that have really helped and they're really grateful for it. And I'm really grateful that I was in the position where I could help them that much. But some of these other people, you really just enable them because our warm line becomes the last bastion of people who have such a arrogant, self-righteous, self-entitled, self-centered mindset that they have pushed away everyone else in their lives. And then they call us expecting us to say, "Oh, poor you. Poor you. Everyone is so mean to you. All you want to do is be abusive to everyone and tell them they're all stupid and that they don't know anything about anything and they just don't understand that you're always right and everyone else is always wrong and it's you against the world and poor you." I mean, that's really what they want and they expect from us. And I can't do that. I cannot do that because that's not going to help anyone. So it's really, to just let them unload and go on and, "Oh, woe is me, poor me, poor me, I'm so mean to everyone and no one wants to tolerate it, poor me." I can't do that. I can't because we're doing more harm than good. And even my mom, as if if I've talked about her in other podcasts, she has worked for the government. She is so pro-government. She thinks government does so much good. You can get her sometimes in a vague way to agree that corruption will happen and everything like that. But once you talk about details, denial, denial, denial. Even my mom has said at times that she thinks sometimes these mental health industries offer faulty solutions or solutions we know won't work in order to perpetuate our own existence. When she said that, my jaw dropped. I never thought I would hear that realization from my mom. And I just told her, now extrapolate that to the entire government because that's the reality of the situation. And I don't want to be a cog in that wheel. That's the other thing. I was at a point where every time I turned around, people were offering me other work opportunities. So I'm going to start taking them. I mean, granted, on the quiet nights, it is nice to get paid like $12 an hour to sleep on a couch and watch movies, but not worth it. I really, not worth it. Especially when they, starting next week, want to switch up my schedule so I have no days off. So that's my rant about work, but also how I think the biggest problems society faces are personality defects or mental illnesses, or not even the mental illnesses, but the things that coincide with the mental illnesses that both people who are functional and non-functional have. So, like I said, I'll be back on later. Maybe I will actually stream some Mortal Kombat later or Call of Duty or something. Maybe I'll make some music later. But I do have to take care of my backyard. I do have to do a whole bunch of other stuff. I might be getting a puppy this week. So, I really got to get everything done around the house and in order before I engage in any fun because shit's getting crazy around here. It's going to be a busy week. So, hope everyone has a good one. Like I said, if Paul's system starts working, I'll pop back on later with him. But figured this was about an hour, give you guys some updates and stuff, and rant about the things that have been on my mind. So, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the weekend. Kevin, have a good one.